Welcome to Monday Motivation. Today we're talking about the power of reflection and stillness in transition. Thank you all for joining. I'll begin with a question. How are you honoring stillness in this season? In a transitional season, like when life is uncertain or it's shifting or it just seems like I can't do any more, our instinct is often just to do more, fix things, find the next step very quickly. But here's the truth. Stillness is not a weakness, and reflection is not wasting time. So that's what we want to talk about today. That these pauses can be sacred. This is where we find clarity and peace. And when you slow down, you start to hear your heart, your values, your direction. Maybe you're between roles. You know, we're moms, we're wives, we're girlfriends. We work. So we're always running between roles. We're navigating a health journey. We're letting go of old dreams. And that's a hard thing to do. But we can hold space for something new. These are all seasons of transition. So whatever your transition season looks like, it's time to give yourself permission to rest and reflect. So, hi everyone, I'm glad you're here and welcome. I'm Terry Stirk, and if we haven't met before, I am a wellness coach and author. Today we're diving into a topic that touches all of us at some point in our life, and that's the transitional seasons. So during those in-between moments when one chapter has ended, the next one hasn't quite begun, that can feel really confusing and frustrating and even lonely. But those seasons can also be sacred and powerful and deeply healing if we're willing to be still and reflect. So I'm excited to welcome a special guest today. Someone I admire for her wisdom, her authenticity, and heart-centered approach to life, Krystal Smallwood. So Krystal, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Would you
for
like to
having me.
introduce yourself to the group?
I would. Hello, first, Terry, thank you so much for having me and allowing me into your space, and sharing this message because, we talk a lot about other women and the things that we navigate through, and you've helped me through my journey. So I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing. But my name is Krystal Smallwood Whitaker. If you are not familiar with me, um, I am the host of a show here on Facebook called Krystal Talk Cancer, where that platform was just like Terry's. It came from a place of pain and recognizing that we had some things that we have to not only work through for ourselves, but we have to help other people navigate through these things so they can be further ahead of the game than what we are. So, yeah, I'm here. I was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 32. I wasn't old enough to have a mammogram. And it has been an up and down roller coaster. And when I say transitional season, I do believe that the journey of cancer alone can be a transitional season. It can definitely be a spiritual season for you as well. It just depends on your perspective.
Mhm. So let's start here about just understanding what transitional seasons are. Some are joyful, like a new opportunity. I know when I was going through my journey of cancer, I lost my job and I had to look for a new job, right? You know, without hair, without all of that. But when I found that job, it was a new opportunity, but it was also very scary because of where I was. So, Krystal, when you think about a transitional season, what comes to mind for you?
Literally the same thing that you said, Theory. Like the journey itself has been one long transitional season. I went through it during COVID, so it's kind of like the job thing. Finding who I am outside of going through this journey is the transitional season for me. um, when we go through breast cancer or cancer in general, we kind of are fighting to get a balance and to find ourselves and why this is happening to us. What is it that we're missing in life, or what is it that we were not paying attention to that allowed us to be here in this space? But I can honestly tell you that a lot of it is a very spiritual thing, but it's really transitional for me because I lost my job. My son was diagnosed with autism when I was diagnosed. He was diagnosed with autism. So going through all of that, breaking everything that I knew as a comfort, this whole journey for me has been a transitional season.
So, how did stillness or reflection help you during that time?
Stillness has definitely helped me on this side of things because I realize, like what you said earlier, we find things to do to keep our minds busy. I jumped into all of these other projects.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not working now, so I have to jump into life and I got to find my way. You know, you're used to surviving. You find ways to survive. So I jumped into all of those things and those things left me fulfilled. Don't get me wrong, but exhausted. And
Mhm.
then I started with the self-pity. Like, I can't keep up the way that I used to. I can't, I'm looking at everybody else out and he having a good time and I'm feeling like I'm literally about to pass out. Like, what's wrong with me? So I had to go back in my bubble and I kind of hid for a little while to try to figure out, is it something wrong with me? Um, so stillness actually made me realize that at the end of the day, it wasn't me, it was what I had gone through. Hearing other women talk about their journeys and mentoring them and hearing the things that they're going through, it helped me cope with what I was going through and what I was dealing with. And it let me know that I'm not alone. But had I kept moving, trying to fix everything and figure out everything, I never would have got to that place of stillness where I would have had time to reflect. And I probably would still be running myself crazy. Like, why am I not capable of doing this? Beating myself up.
Mhm. So, I love what you say about slowing down and finding stillness in order to have time to reflect. So, many of us resist that pause. We're conditioned to do more rather than less.
Yeah.
But stillness isn't an empty place. It's a place where we have time for our brains to slow down and then we can put things in order. I notice
Hmm.
that when I'm waking up in the morning, where I'm kind of just half dozing and then my mind starts working. I find that sometimes the things that were bothering me yesterday come right back, only I find a solution. So I jump out of bed and write it down. That's a point of transition between
Yeah.
sleep and wake, where I'm still and reflecting at the same time. But it's where we can reconnect to our inner strength. So,
Hmm.
Krystal, what helped you lean into that stillness even more when everything in you wanted to push forward? How did you physically make yourself stop?
Um, because honestly, at some point, I knew after you go through the journey and you realize, and this is the thing about reflection, you start to notice old patterns. I noticed an old pattern that I had. I gotta fix it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're on that hamster wheel and you're running and you're just like, I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it. I gotta figure it out. I gotta do this. And then it's like, okay, but now I'm overwhelmed. Now I'm dealing with anxiety. Now I'm dealing with depression and other things are
Mm-hmm.
happening in the midst of all of this other stuff that's going on and this hamster wheel mentality that I have to figure out everything. It was just like, yeah, no, you couldn't figure it out when you were diagnosed. So why are you trying to figure out everything now? So I kind of got to that point where I was like, I used to live life on a hamster wheel and it didn't get me anywhere except for being sick.
Hmm.
So then I put that into my frontal and I realized I can't stress myself back to what I overcame. I have to do things differently. I leaned more into my faith. I leaned more into having those hard conversations with God. And it wasn't that I was um chemo brain. She shows up every now and then. I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys understand.
Oh,
um
yes.
but it wasn't, it's like we have these survival instincts, especially as women. I will be honest. I'm not saying that men don't have them, but I think as
Mhm.
women with children, you tend to like, oh, okay, I got to take care of them, this, that, and you kind of make yourself. But at some point, I realized that I was doing that before. And now I have to slow down and I have to trust the process and I have to trust God. And the power of reflection is whenever you're reflecting over things that you've overcome, you have to also go back to those reminders from those lessons that you learned from the past so that you don't repeat that same cycle. I was the person that wanted to figure everything out on my own. Now I'm just like out loud. Okay, this is too much for me. I'm learning my voice. I'm learning how to set boundaries. I'm learning what I can do, what I cannot do, what I can and cannot accept. That is a part of learning through stillness. Like you just learn lessons as you go, but you have to also reflect on those things in order for it to change your process, change how you navigate forward. And that's basically how I did it. Like, I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. My body was just, okay, you're going to go to sleep, sitting up. After a while, it's just like, I'm not being productive. And I don't know if you experienced this, Terry, but there are some times where, and thankfully this hasn't happened, within the past few months, but there are times when I'm doing so much that I'm not doing anything at all because it's super overwhelming and you deal with a lot of anxiety when you get overwhelmed now and it doesn't feel productive. But I feel like that's our inner self saying rest. It's okay.
Do you find yourself consciously catching yourself? Maybe when you're running too fast and you need to slow down.
I didn't hear you. It switched over. I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Well, I was just wondering if you catch yourself sometime, oh, just slow down, where you tell yourself, I got to stop this. Or
I
does
think
someone
it
else have to remind you? you
other
know?
people remind me. God sends people to remind me like, girl, you doing a lot. Slow down.
Yeah.
But it's one of those uncomfortable seasons, right? Like I'm really in an uncomfortable season right now. I was diagnosed in 2021. I went through the treatments and all of the things, and I have never been so financially in a bind in my life. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's like when you go through during COVID and then you come out of it and the economy is still in shambles, you are fighting for survival, and other people don't understand that it's not that you want to do all of these things at one time, but it's like I'm really fighting for survival for myself and for my family as well
Hmm.
as the other people who are going through this. I'm trying to give them a voice so that they can also receive the assistance and the help that they need because we
Hmm.
don't talk about it, but other people do come to me and they're like, you gotta slow down. And I've had a couple of my mentors have told me to my face, like, Krystal, you have to really slow down. Focus on three things. I promise you, Terry, one of my mentors told me this like a month ago. She's like, I want you to just focus on three things. I added three things to everything else that I had going on. Mind blowing. How does that work?
Yeah. Yeah, I find myself creating list after list, and then I have to figure out, okay, what's the priority? What's
Right,
number one today?
right.
And what if I don't do these other 10 things? What's going to happen? Probably nothing.
Yeah,
So just slow down. Sometimes it feels like transitions last forever, especially when you're waiting on something you can't control.
yeah.
Those are the times when it feels like, is it ever going to end? So, how do you continue to carry that wisdom you learned during your journey forward to today?
How do I continue to carry that wisdom? Honestly, Terry, I have to remind myself I want to make sure that I'm answering this question correctly because I have to remind myself to give myself grace. So
Mhm.
it's like carrying that wisdom that I learned, I realized where where I was operating at 100%, but 100% was really operating me. And now I want to do life differently. So I carry it in the reality that I don't want life to go back to the way that it was, and that I want life to be more purposeful. So
Mhm.
I carry the reminders of the women and men that I talk to that go through this journey who are also having a hard time, that don't want to speak up for themselves because of fear of being judged, or shame. You know, I carry that reflection of why I'm doing this, but then at the same time, I also give myself grace and I remind myself that it takes time. Like I can only do so much in a day and it takes time. So I give myself grace, the same grace I'm learning. Let me be clear. I am learning to give myself grace and really give myself the grace that I give others, because it's easy for us to give other people grace and to say, hey, you need to rest. Hey, you're doing too much. But then it's like when you see what you have going on in your personal, it's really hard to step away from all of that and say, I need to rest. I need a break. I need an out. So I've been
Right.
really leaning on others and listening to the voices that God brings my way, because, I believe that prayer is very powerful. It is a very powerful tool. And I pray and I ask God for guidance. And I will have people come to me at random and answer the question or answer the the request that I ask God. And it's not a coincidence. I
No.
believe that God will tell you exactly what it is that you want to know. You just have to be still and listen.
Mhm. So, if someone listening to you today is in that waiting room season, that period of transition, what word of hope would you offer them?
I will tell you honestly to take it one day at a time.
Mhm.
And even when it's hard, you really have to lean into your faith. Whatever your faith is, whatever it is that you believe, you have to lean into that and you have to just know. With me, I have to trust God and know. I have to reflect on his promises and I have to make sure that I am in alignment with whatever it is that his will is for my life. And I ask for direction. So when you feel like you are like having the worst time or nobody understands you, you're all alone, I challenge you to take a moment and just reflect over the last time that you felt like that. And when you reflect over the last time that you felt that way, I need you to take away those things that happened after that. Like, how did that situation end? It ended in a good way because you're still here, right? Like you're still
Mhm.
present, you're still breathing, you're still moving forward. Something has happened positive since that last time that you went through something. I want you to lean on that. Lean on your faith and reflect over that, because the same God that brought you out of that storm, out of that season, is going to be the same God that carries you over into your new. And we have to remember that. And it looks bad sometimes. It looks horrible sometimes. Like you could
Mhm.
be facing bankruptcy, and people don't even know it. Like, your car can be messed up, your mental, your kids, the dog, everything just seems like it's overwhelming you or overtaking you. But you have to just pray and ask God, what is it that I'm supposed to learn in this
Mhm.
season? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to go forward? How do I navigate this season that brings glory to you and honor to you?
Mhm.
And, just lean on your support system, all of those things. It's all important. Being surrounded by people who get it, having the hard conversations. We have hard conversations on Crystal Talks Cancer all the time. We talk
Right.
mental health, emotional, psychological, financial. We talk about all of those things. Even here on Monday Motivation, you get so many tools to put in your tool belt to help you. We have to utilize the tools that we have, because the unfortunate part of it is life is getting a little more challenging for everybody.
Right.
But we got to keep moving forward. So I stay encouraged.
So, Crystal, thank you so much for sharing your heart today and your wisdom. Tell the listeners where they can see your show.
So if you are on Facebook, find me under Krystal Smallwood. I tell everybody to hashtag Crystal Talks Cancer, because when you hashtag Crystal Talks Cancer, it'll take you to the Crystal Talks Cancer page, and it'll also take you to my Facebook page. Well,
Okay.
the Crystal Talks Cancer page, you can follow that page, but be sure that you're following me, because that page was a page for the actual videos for people to go back and watch. But since Facebook deleted all of them, it's pointless. But I leave it up for the flyers. So please follow Krystal Smallwood on Facebook, and we are live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. The show is not just for the survivor. It's for the survivor, the thriver, the person that's caregiving. It's for the doctors. It's for the surgeons. It's for everybody to come and get an understanding of what we go through in and after this journey, and how they can better help us. So
Mhm.
I hope to see some of you guys there.
Wonderful. So, everyone, if you're watching this live or if you're catching the replay, take a moment to pause. You can do that right now and just slow down. Slow your breathing, breathe, and that will help. And if you don't feel that rush through this video, you can take that same skill next time you're feeling rushed.
Yeah.
So reflection and stillness, they aren't weaknesses, they're survival. They're ways to survive a crazy day. This is an invitation to you to grow a deeper root, to realize I can reflect and I can own this. You'll find, if you want to listen to Krystal and everything we talked about again, the replay will be in our group. It'll also be on YouTube forever and always. When Facebook doesn't want it, it's on YouTube. But I appreciate you subscribing to that YouTube channel too. That way you'll get notified when I post the new videos, and I'll be posting this one on Wednesday. So until next time, stay grounded, stay hope-filled, and remember to pause and be still. Healing doesn't happen in a rush. It unfolds when you're quiet and in a still place. That's when true healing happens. Anything else, Krystal, before we hang up?
No, that's it. Again, thank you so much for inviting me. And I look forward, if you guys haven't seen Terry, her video will be on YouTube. I have to just go through them, but Terry's testimony and the way that she's helping Terry, I just want to say thank you, because a
Thank
lot
you.
of people need the tools that you give here. And there's a lot of tools that are in my tool belt that came from you. So I do want to give you your flowers and thank you so much for everything that you're doing, everything that you have been doing in the background, in the way that you help others. It is so needed and it is so much
Mhm.
appreciated.
Thank you, Krystal. That's very kind of you. All right, I'm cheering you on. Let's keep moving, but slow down. also.
Yeah.
Goodbye.